So guys, today I got for you Cloés Nomade perfume collection overview, and in case you're wondering how each fragrance from it smells and compares to another, make sure to keep on watching because all the details are coming up. All you have to do is to subscribe to my channel, and I want to remind you to give this video a huge thumbs up because all of that is a great support for me. And once you're done with that, we can get started. So hello and welcome everyone to today's video in which I'll be reviewing for you all the perfumes from Cloés Nomade collection, which in my opinion is very special because it is quite different from everything else you can find on the market. By the way, let me know if you have any experience with it and what are your thoughts. I want to get started with the original EDP, which technically could be called a Chypre because we have bergamot in the top and oak moss in the base. But don't be afraid, I know that Chypres used to be huge way back in the days, however, they can be considered a little bit outdated nowadays. But this is a great example of a modern Chypre. We have the bergamot with other citruses in the top. There is also a very specific note for this fragrance, Mirabelle plum, which is juicier, fresher and more acidic than the general plum in fragrances. There is also a bit of peachiness that accentuates the fruity part of the fragrance, and behind it we have some muted floralcy coming from jasmine, rose and freesia. In the base, as I've already said, the oak moss and some patchouli with ambery, musky and woody tones. So this is a very elegant, well-balanced fragrance that I could easily recommend for a formal occasion in case you have a business meeting and you want to smell chic and really confident. This is that fragrance that you can easily reach for. It is so versatile, you can wear it all year round. The sillage of it is beautiful. It is a very recognizable perfume because it stands out among so many other fragrances and it smells truly classy. So the perfumer behind it is Quentin Bish, and he is a fantastic nose and he is specifically well at creating fruity fragrances. Let's name his Banger de Lina, for example. I think that tells you all. So the fruity part in this perfume is pretty modern. The floralcy is really very muted, so none of the notes stands out, and the oak moss with the rest of very textural notes creates this amazing quality of an expensive smelling fragrance. By the way, don't be afraid of oak moss because way back in the days, you know, it was almost earthy and very woody. In here it smells modern, but not to the point I would compare to the element in Baccarat Rouge, because in there oak moss is very modern, but it comes as a crystallized material, so it's a little bit scratchy and kind of like a crystallized, and this is that oak moss that comes in a very saturated form, so you need to warm it up and heat it up in order to work with it, but it is kind of purified, so it smells a little bit more delicate than that earthy oak moss that might take you to the forest, which this one doesn't. So I would say you can't go wrong with the EDP, but in case you're looking for just a bit lighter version of this perfume that would still smell classy but maybe a little bit more easygoing, especially for the summertime, their EDT is just awesome for that. Obviously the accent is on the citrusy and fruity part. There's also a bit of floralcy and way less noticeable oak moss, but the fragrance is still really nice. However, I want to point out that it is not as accessible where I live as the rest of this collection, so it's not very easy to get your hands on this version. However, you might need to check for yourself at your local shop. But in case you're looking for a more mature and just intense version of this perfume, then I would recommend you their ABSOLU, because in here we still have the Mirabelle plum and oak moss, which is kind of like the main character of the fragrance, and the new addition to this composition is Davana. And in case you're not familiar with this material, it is basically a plant with an herbaceous scent that has some fruity and boozy tones to it, so it works amazingly as a link between oak moss and Mirabelle. We also have some sandalwood and musk, but the fragrance is very dense, so you might want to wear it when it is colder outside during the winter time because it hugs you, giving you this warm sillage, and it smells like an expensive niche perfume. But I want to move on with the flankers to the Naturelles, which were created by a different perfumer, and the nose behind them is actually Caroline Demers. So these Naturelles could be fragrances on their own. They are very different from those ones that were created by Quentin Bish, and the minute I smelled Eau de Parfum Naturelle, I fell in love with it, you guys, and you might remember my reviews on it from a couple of years ago. because I've been mentioning this perfume on my channel over and over again because it's super addictive. We still have that marble plum in here with oak moss, but with an addition of dates, which is a very cool textural note that brings something exotic to the table. There is also florals in here and vanilla that wasn't in the previous one, so together with sandalwood creates a very creamy effect. And I don't know why I'm getting almost like a beautiful bright yellow banana bubblegum feeling, but it is so optimistic, truly mouth-watering, with a gourmand character fragrance that indeed feels natural. But you know what is natural, and I'm doing this because, you know, it doesn't mean that it's safer than synthetic perfumes, but what I want to mention is that although this fragrance smells sweet, definitely sweeter than those fragrances I've just described for you, it has like almost that gourmand edible vibe, you know, with a bubble gum nuance, with almost something like banana. The fruitiness in here is elevated. It still feels really natural, so it's kind of like a more modern version of this perfume for those who want to have fun, for those who want the fruitiness and sweetness being more pronounced than in previous perfumes which were really classy, you know, like mature fragrances. With this fragrance you can have fun. It's very complimenting, and when they released the new version of this flanker that was also created by Corel and it is called Nomade Jasmine Natural Intense, I wanted to smell it and I loved it a lot, but they are very similar with the previous Naturelle. So in here we also have marble plum in the combination with pear, so it feels even juicier, even more mouth-watering, even more crisp, like a beautiful fresh fruity dessert. Also dates that have almost like a honey glazed feeling, and white floralcy, of course, jasmine in the heart. And you might remember that I have a very difficult experience with jasmine in designer fragrances. Alien being my nightmare, this is my dream because it is a little bit indulged, it is very sexy, and I don't know why, but sandalwood, vanilla, oak moss and patchouli in here give me even creamier feeling than in the previous Naturelle, reminding me of an ice cream texture. So this is another gourmand, but it is very similar to the previous one, so you need to make your own decision whether you want more jasmine in your fragrance or not. But I would recommend you one of these Naturelles and EDP because you can layer them, you can wear them separately, and these are fantastic fragrances that really stand out because they smell new and unique and at the same time modern and fun. And I highly appreciate what Chloé is doing, creating fragrances in their own unique way. And in case you appreciated my review on these, then make sure to give it a huge thumbs up. The last thing I want to say is that the only complaint I have about this collection is the bottles. They look a little bit too similar. I mean, like, you can be confused and grab the wrong fragrance, especially the Naturelles. They are just slightly different than, you know, those EDP, EDT and ABSOLU. But other than that, this is one of the best perfume collections you can find on the market. And since Chloé tends to discontinue their perfumes, and I don't know why they are doing that, but that happened to my beloved C that I used to be head over heels for and love, don't sleep on this collection. These are the ones I want to put on your radar, but in case you have any questions left, go ahead, drop me a comment below, and of course consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out the description box. There you'll find all the useful information and also discounts with which you can shop perfumes and save some money. Don't forget to follow me on my social media so we can stay in touch, and drop a comment below which of the designer perfume collections you want me to review in the future, and we'll see each other next one really soon. Bye guys.